Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my other co host on the other side, Angel.
How's it going? Thank you for joining us today.
And today on episode 94, we have a special guest joining our show. He is the son of Astros Hall of Famer Jose Cruz. He won the 1999 state title with Bel Air High School, local Houston high school here in the Houston area. Won the NCAA National Championship in 2003 with Rice. Worked with the Astros from 2015 to 2020, and now runs his own baseball organization called Cruz Baseball. Welcome to the show, Jose Enrique Cruz.
What's happening, guys? Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. I'm excited to hang out with you guys. And please disregard any randomness happening behind me, man.
Nah, it's all good. Before we get started, I had to ask this one question.
Yeah.
When y'all were at Rice with that 2003 national championship, or just really your whole tenure at Rice, how was it working with, being coached by one of the best, I would say, one of the best NCAA college baseball coaches in history, Wayne Graham?
Well, first of all, Coach Graham was a special man. I mean, he had such a long and illustrious career. A little fun fact about him is that we go way back. I mean, he used to throw batting practice to my dad back in the day when he was at the Astros. So it's just funny to know that, that man has been a part of our lives, for a very, very long time. And then to, experience and see my brother playing for him here in the early 90s, inspired me to come out here, right? He's just been able to mold a lot of young men into some really good ball players. And then, from the foundation of my brother's era and all that, all those guys that came through the program before us, it really just laid the foundation for that 2003 class to come together and just be an awesome force. I mean, we were definitely a perfect storm of young talent from Houston, and then just a lot of guys that had a bunch of grit. And, in 2002, we got to the College World Series, and it was a scenario where we were happy to be there. We were almost like starstruck, guys. Like, it was like, man, Rosenblatt, wow, we made it. And really, we got punched in the face and we were out 2 games, right? 2 and out. But then the next year, 2003, it was a great experience for us from the year before, because it was just something that we knew that we're ready to rock and roll. Like, we're here. It's unfinished business, And Coach Graham was definitely an important part of that, because he knew that once we got there and once we got through University of Texas, it was fair game, And Stanford was a very good team. Don't get me wrong. Stanford, the team we beat in the championship game, was a solid group. They got a bunch of big leaguers on that team that matched up really well with a bunch of big leaguers and pro guys that we had on our side too. But man, to go in there and finish them out 2 out of 3 was fantastic. It was a dream come true, and especially to be a part of that first national championship team and help Coach Graham experience that after all that hard work. Because let me tell you, man, I'm sitting here in the suite at Rice, and as I talk about it, I get goosebumps, and I'm looking at U of H take ground balls right now before this game, and this field doesn't look anything close to what we experienced, let alone what Coach Graham had to deal with in the very beginning. So, all of this right here just speaks volumes about the hard work that everybody has put into this program. And, for me, I mean, I'm super biased. Obviously, I got my big brother who's the head coach there. It's pretty neat. And, always here, happy to support him and obviously support this program. So, the alumni are very proud, and we know that, it's a little bit of a rough patch for us right now, but the future's bright.
Yeah, it is very bright over there at Rice. I mean, we were able to see Rice play in that Shriners College Classic, upsetting I forgot what team they had to upset.
Texas
I mean, it was a
Tech,
ranked team.
baby.
Texas
Yes,
Tech.
there
Yeah.
was. That was, I believe it was the first or second game of that Shriners
Yeah.
Classic. But, a follow-up question with Wayne Graham. Do you have any funny stories you could recall?
That I cannot share. I can't share any. Nope. Can't do it because I'll be honest with you, man. Like, listen, we love that man. He was a very strong personality, right? As a lot of the old school coaches were.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's difficult at this point in the stage of the state that we are in now with baseball and sports in general. I think it's difficult to potentially coach with such the
tenacity.
Tenacity, just to be able to, because look, his methods were firm but fair, right? And sometimes just come out of way out of left field to push those right buttons to get the best out of you. And when I, as a player, as you're going through it, you're like, what the heck was that, man? I did everything I could do, right? But as you exit the program, as you mature as a human being, and you go through pro ball and all your own experiences, you realize, oh, that's what he was doing. He was allowing me to get thicker skin so that when I got through this program, I didn't care or was not even afraid of anybody. I can't tell you how many times I had a hardcore manager in pro ball, and some of the guys were nervous to talk to him and nervous to be around him. And they're like, Enrique, man, you're not nervous about so-and-so? I'm like, this guy? I went through Coach Graham. This guy ain't nobody, There's nobody right here, man. So I really appreciate everything that he did. And I think that, like I said, he was tough, man, but I'm a better player and a better man because of it. So, and he's just hard-nosed, man. And that's just how you have to play this game. You have to be tough. You have to understand that not every day is going to be your day, and, how do you react to that, right? How do you get up from failure? And this game teaches you a lot about that. And Coach Graham definitely was somebody that lets you know that, hey, we need you. You need to pick it up. And, he's going to push some buttons. And that's definitely what some players need. So, and he knew who he could get at hardcore and who he needed to massage a little bit. And also, and the coaches were really good like that. I mean, it's sometimes you got to have good cop, bad cop, right? He could be the bad cop, and the assistant coach would be the good cop, and build you back up, and be that person that, when you needed someone to, just bounce some stuff off of, he would be the good cop and all that deal. So for me, I remember the good cop for me was Coach Pierce. I'll never forget, in 2003, he's the head coach now at University of Texas, and I remember him taking me after the first or second day of practice when he got here, and was like, Enrique, man, listen, man, we got a lot of good talent on this team, and we are definitely on our way to win a national championship, but we need you, okay? We need you, man. And after that, we spent a lot of time in the cage, and we talked about different, philosophies and whatnot, and dude, it just clicked for me with him and I just clicked. And after that, it was, the rest is history. I mean, I had my best year at Rice. I hit 352 or something like that. Led the team in average, led the team in homers, and we won that championship. And I'm telling you, like that brotherhood that we formed with that crew, I mean, we're forever brothers, man. And what's crazy is it's been 20 years, bro. 20 years.
20 years.
And we're talking a little bit internally about potentially going to Omaha and just checking some sites out there and kind of reliving it and just kind of just seeing what the new Rosenblatt looks like, because the old Rosenblatt is now a parking lot, which is unfortunate because it's just such a nostalgic place that, back in my day, and I'm sure maybe for you guys too, watching those old College World Series games, it's a scenario where that was like the place, right? That was, as a college player, like, that's like the Mecca of it all, right? Just somewhere just super holy that you just really need to go visit and be a part of. That some truly special. And don't get me wrong, not that the new Rosenblatt isn't, because this is beautiful. It is a modern time stadium, and it's just it's very nice. But it's almost like old Yankee Stadium, right? There's such a nostalgia to it that you go to that ballpark and you remember, man, that's Babe Ruth actually played there. Lou Gehrig played there, right? So I would have flashbacks of the old LSU squads and the old Rice teams that I would grow up watching. Like I Kenny Ball, my former teammate, I remember watching him play there in '99. I have the first appearance for the Owls up there. So it's just a lot of memories, a lot of cool stuff, and just it definitely is obviously a huge part of college baseball. Yeah,
and now you have your brother, like you said, coaching the team. Cruz, just really the whole family tree of Jose Cruz, from your dad to your brother. I mean, even to yourself, have a strong baseball background, and especially with the Houston Astros as well. But thank you for sharing your story about your time in Rice. I mean, it just gives me goosebumps just even thinking about it. But let's get on with the show. We have some Astros. Yeah, we got some Astros roundup. Of course, we'll do our shout outs, talk about our offensive and pitching MVPs and a hot take. And then we'll go a little bit around the league, seeing what's going around Major League Baseball. But first, like I said, the shout-outs. Y'all love it. We love it. My first shout-out, Angel, I'm going with Brandon Bielak. This man came into Houston. He came into Houston the same day he got called up. Didn't even have his baseball equipment with him because the Space Cowboys were traveling on the road. I think they were at Reno, Las Vegas at the time. Came back into Houston. Didn't have no equipment, like I said. Drove to Sugarland because luckily he had a glove in his in the clubhouse. came back to Houston. Luis Garcia, of course, had that awful injury. Hopefully, we get some good news this coming weekend from that for the Astros. He goes in there, pitches 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. I mean, I think that's a decent day. If
Yeah.
you're an Astros fan, you're thinking about that. You're like, wow. I mean, you lost your starting pitcher in the first inning. Here comes Brandon Belak, just literally coming that same day. Now he's already on the bump, and he threw out 4 decent innings.
Yeah, talk
But
about welcome back to the show, huh? Like
yeah,
right away in the first inning, having to be in there, but he deserves a big shout out because he saved that bullpen for sure, especially after an injury like that, after 8 pitches, like that's a that bullpen's ruffling around, trying to figure out what's going on. Even the coaching staff is like, who am I going to put for this matchup? And he came out phenomenal. Like you said, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Like he looked really good throwing 4 pitches. I know he was capped off at about 75 pitches, but I think he could have gone even one more inning because that's how good he looked.
yeah, definitely. I think he could have. And Jose, do you have anything to add on? If you
No,
want to?
listen. All I'm going to say is that that's a phenomenal story, man. Right?
Mhm.
Just getting that last minute call up, not even having a glove or whatever. He should have called me, man. I got plenty of gloves. I could have handed him something, man, to get that going. But and I'm way closer than Sugarland. But so what's cool is that that's just the kind of cool storyline that happens in baseball, man. And I'm with you though. He probably could have gone a little bit more, but he already done his job at that point. So kudos to him. And now I'm like, now you got me, man. My shout out. Now I don't even know about it, man. That's a great one, though. Jeez.
Yeah. AJ, you want to go ahead and do the second one? I already got my out there. How about you?
Yeah, let's go with Yanner Diaz. Like he doesn't get as much playing time as he sort of thought he would, or as he hoped for, but he's making everything count, making that every at bat count, even every pitch as he's calling count. He went 2 for 3 with 2 singles, had 2 of the Astros 3 hits, 2 runners caught stealing, and I feel that's a big one because I feel like the big league clubs respect Marty enough to maybe have 1 or 2 stolen base attempts, but when Yanier Diaz, I feel like sometimes might be all right. We're taking off on this guy. He's behind the plate. He hasn't proved himself yet, but I think this is like a warning to the rest of the league and those throws were on the money. They were right there. Like Pena didn't even have to move his glove. He caught it and it was already tagging the runner. So I have a question to either one of y'all. Should Diaz get more at bats, either in the DH, behind the plate, even first base, left field? Like that was one of the reasons why they put him on the roster for his expendability and all around the field. Like, what do y'all guys think?
Hey, sorry, Zoe, can I take this real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
As a former shortstop, second baseman, you just said something that I truly appreciated. The catchers that can throw the ball on the money, whether I'm there on time or not, is a phenomenal thing because let's just say, I'm watching the hitter trying to track to see if he swings or not, and that runner's already going. I might be a click late, right? Just a little bit late. But if that throw is on the money, I'm going to catch and, tag. So that's exactly what Pena did in one of the throws. But another little fun little fact is that I was watching some of the highlights right there, and I think they tracked Diaz on both those throws about 85, 86 miles an hour across to second base, which was like, dang. And the pop time was like 189 or 188, something like that. I was like, dude, this guy is impressing me defensively because, and you look in the minor leagues, you knew he was going to hit, right? And like you said, he just needs an opportunity. But the fact that he's showing some nice defense like that, and like you said, letting the league know, hey, you're going to run on me. Let's do this kind of vibe. Like, come on, challenge accepted. I like that, man. As a young guy coming up to proving himself like that with the limited time that he's getting, that's a bonus, man. I love it. I'm with it. Go ahead, Zoe. Sorry, I'll tap out on this.
Nah, you're good. I mean, continue preaching.
We love your insight, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're getting the player's perspective from it. Of course, we've never been on a major league diamond playing at that level, but I mean, I think he could. I feel like there could be a little bit deserving time for Diaz to get some at bats. David Hensley hasn't looked really solid like he was last year. Corey Jokes, of course, he's going to have some off days, and then he's playing left field too because of Yordan Alvarez sometimes being in the DH role. But I think I would like to give him more shots at it. Of course, you want to see him thrive and, just having a little bit of times catching and being on the bench, at least get him some at-bats to be able to track the ball and see the ball. He only had 2 of the Astros 3 hits that day as well. Yeah. So I think just give him a little bit more at-bats. I think he'd look a little solid at that DH role, I'd say.
Yeah, I tell you, we all know, man, it's a long season So he's gonna sneak in there and get some at bats as long as he stays healthy. He's gonna get plenty of opportunities. It's just probably not gonna be at the amount that he probably wants because I'm just assuming that if he's a ball player, he wants to be in there every single day. But he understands his role at this time, and it's gonna be a scenario where Maldonado, he's a little bit older, and it's one of those things where he's gonna get his chance. He's just gonna have to sit back, take some notes, and be ready to rock and roll when his numbers call. And Dusty's gonna give him the chances. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and I mean, Martín Maldonado is one of the best catchers defensively as well to learn from. So I'd like for him to get mentored by Maldi a little bit more. But do you have any shout-outs you want to give out? Any particular player?
You guys listed some good ones, man. But here's the deal. For me, and this is great, and this is totally by chance, we all picked 3 different people, which is kind of cool. I'm picking Duvon simply because it was a revenge series for him.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest with you, I heard some of the background stuff recently that I didn't even know about it, but it was pretty cool to see someone that was obviously with a different team and him coming in there and just showing them what they were missing out on is always awesome, right? He got 3 hits in the first game. He didn't get any hits in the second game, I don't think, but then he got another hit. So I mean, 4 for 9 in the series is always something awesome, especially if it's against your former team. And then tip my cap for him. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like you always play like with a chip on your shoulder when you're playing against a former team. And I think I saw on the broadcast that there was some like things weren't pretty when that exchange happened when he got traded. But at the end of the day, he was happy that he won a World Series ring. And I even wrote about that. He was the first Honduran player to win a World Series, and even like the second to be in the playoffs as well. So that's pretty good. I'm sorry,
Heck yeah,
a second to be in the league, first to be in the postseason.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's still cool. But
Very cool.
Enough with the shout outs. Astros did lose the series though against the Giants. You just got to tip your cap to those starting pitchers that they had over there. Anthony Desclafani did pretty good for the Giants. The same thing as Logan Webb. Gave up that 2-run bomb to Alex Bregman. But I mean, Desclafani was one of the best pitchers, I believe, 2 years ago. Last year, he was dealing with a lot of injuries. But in 2021, I mean, I believe he was an all-star with the Reds. Not too 100% sure at the top of my head, but he had a really good ERA. Same thing as Logan Webb. I mean, people forget about how he pitched in 21, leading the Giants to a division. They won the division against the Dodgers that season and pitched a great game in that wild card against the Dodgers. But like I said, they lost the series. But with the offense, them last 2 games, they combined 8 hits. The Astros in both games had 8 hits combined in them last 2 games once again. But the difficult part right now, and I was looking into it with the lineup, is we got 3 key players right now that is struggling through that Astros lineup. And 3 of them I'm going to name is Kyle Tucker. He's 3 for 25 with a 120 batting average, 1 RBI, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And these are last 7 games, by the way. I didn't even get to mention that. Jose Abreu, 4 for 25 with a 160 batting average, 2 RBIs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And then you got Alex Bregman, one of the most great play discipline players at the plate. Right. 3 for 25, 120 batting average, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. We're gonna go. They're gonna go out there to Seattle, and of course, Seattle is gonna be looking for that revenge. It's the first time we're gonna see the Astros are gonna see the Seattle Mariners out there at the Electric Factory. What do you guys think about who could turn it, up a notch going into this series up there in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, right now the Mariners are very fortunate that they're going to have an opportunity to, take advantage of an Astros team that's kind of wounded, so they're definitely got the advantage at this point in time. But, it's one of those things where I think Alex Bregman is the key for us at this point, because him and Jordan, I mean, by the way, I'm probably going to cut to it, and I don't want to cut to it, but I want to, only because these numbers are too good. Okay. Like, we were talking about the MVPs of the series coming up. I'm just going to say mine early. Jordan's going to be the MVP. Okay. And the reason why is because, dude, these numbers against the Mariners, bro, are you kidding me? Look at this. 305, 47 hits, 11 homers, 47 RBIs, and 40 career games against the M's, dude.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, talk about going to someone's land, and like basically, another opponent's field and being like, no, this is my field, actually. I'm Jordan. Thank you very much. So that's pretty cool. So I think that, Bregman, the bomb he hit today, hopefully it's something that kind of gets him going a little bit, because we definitely need his bat. I mean, he's the leader in the clubhouse, when Altuve's not around, really. But I mean, I just think that he's the key for us. And Tucker's going to hit, man. Tucker's the most chill cat or individual that I've seen, other than maybe Rendon. That's just even keeled. Nothing bothers him. Oh man, I just made a Rice reference. Look at that. About that. My bad. But for real, like, I think they're gonna have they're gonna have to hit, because we're wounded, man. There's too many people too many of our guys on the IL at this point. So the Mariners definitely have the advantage.
You're on mute, Angel.
Yeah, I was trying to do some research real quick. One of the players that I want to turn around is Jose Abreu. Like, I feel he's due. It's been a while since he's hit a home run, and I feel like at that point in time, it's more of a mental thing. It's like, like you want to do something and you want to play big, and maybe you swing too hard trying to like put something in play. I think he's due, and he's traditionally a slow starter anyway.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to see what May and June and once the summer months start hitting to see what he actually does.
Hey, Angel makes a good point, though, because it really is so funny how April showers bring May flowers. So we could really see Abreu finally find his stroke and just start clicking. Right, the early lows. Like you said, he's historically a slow starter. And, you got to get your time in. You got to get your lumps in April. And he probably is trying a little extra hard because he's the new guy and he wants to look good. And obviously he's replacing a fan favorite in Yuli at first base. So that might be a little extra tightness. But I'm telling you, man, we're going to forget about April real quick once he starts clicking in May.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Astros are definitely slow starters when it comes to the early part of the season. That's through April and May. And when it gets to the summertime, and of course, when it gets to the fall, the Astros are just they just go onto a different level.
It's beast mode at that point. And by the way, off topic situation here. Angel, did your light go out?
I'm in my classroom and it has sensors, so I was like, it's freaking.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was just like, what just happened? We're taking a ton of campfires now? What's up? What's going on, man?
Everybody start turning their lights off now?
Yeah. Woo.
No, but it's
sorry.
good.
I'm just teasing.
No, but speaking of offensive struggles, a bright spot for the Astros has been their pitching of late against that Brave series, the Toronto series, even the Rays. But recently we've been plagued with injuries. The two starting pitchers have been put on the IL. First, it was Jose Urquidy. He went on the IL with right shoulder discomfort. And then that's when we called Brandon Bilek, who, how we mentioned, was phenomenal. He shut down for 10 days. He's not throwing for 10 days. Luckily, the MRI revealed it was inflammation in his right shoulder. So Baker said Urquidy will be shut down for a while. So, it's kind of tricky with those, especially with pitchers with their arms, because that's like their money makers, right? So we want to treat those with caution and give them the time we need. And then the very next day, after throwing 8 pitches, Luis Garcia leaves the game with right elbow discomfort. He actually called Maudie after a pitch to come up. Everybody came, Dusty, the pitching trainers, the pitching staff, and everybody came to look at him. We recalled Matt Gage, who also got in the game and actually looked pretty good as well. I think he threw an inning and 2/3 without allowing a run. Garcia said he felt pain in his elbow after the 5th pitch. Garcia saw the doctor Tuesday to reevaluate the MRI, and Astros will have some news and an outcome by the weekend. So we'll tune in for that. But Jose, I have a question for you. Since your expertise in the front office, what do the Astros do? Do they go to the farm and look at JP France or Forrest Whitley? Do they go are they already trying to skirt a trade out early, or do we test out Ronel Blanco for a start? And that's one of the Dana Brown said they're trying to look at him as a starter. So what do you think happens?
I honestly believe that all those can be a factor. It just we don't know. We've had some different GMs in the past, right? So we don't really know what Dana Brown is about at this point. So but I think right now they'll utilize this opportunity to see what they have in the farm system, or maybe even test somebody that can maybe step up. So it's early in the season, so there's an opportunity for everybody to get an opportunity to see what they have, and let's just see what we got. Why not? It's not October. It's not anything crazy late in the season. It's just the start of May. It's unfortunate that we have to do this, but I think we have so much depth that, they have all the scouting and all the data that they can use and see they can leverage them in the right situation. So I think it's a bittersweet thing for them. You know, they can see what they have in the arsenal.
For sure.
Yeah, and the long term though, like hopefully the news to Luis Garcia
Mm-hmm.
isn't the worst news because of course when you think of right elbow discomfort, you're
Right.
thinking Tommy John real quick.
Done. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I made this prediction in the beginning, very beginning, like I believe in January, that I believe that the Astros should have won the free agent marker and maybe just got one veteran starter.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, now we're in the present. We're not thinking about in the future. Um, do you think they could go look at a free agent piece? I mean, Madison Bumgarner just got DFA, but Mad Bum isn't the same Mad Bum from San Francisco.
Yeah.
And in Arizona, he didn't look really sharp. Or Dallas Keuchel, another lefty, which I don't know if he still got anything in the left in the tank, and especially going back to Houston. I want y'all's thoughts on that. I don't know what y'all think about it.
I mean, it could be a possibility, but I feel like how Enrique was saying, I feel like they try to see what they have in the farm system and see what kind of, like what type of competitors they have, what grit they have, especially in different situations at this time. So I mean, I feel like it's too. I feel like you want to build those trust with those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, this is the opportunity to do that. I mean, it's just so early. It's such a long season. I mean, you got some bullets. If it's super emergency time, yeah, you're doing some due diligence, right? I'm sure they're planning accordingly, like, hey, X, Y, Z, in case worst case scenario, these are some opportunities, some options. These are some pieces that are out there that might be a viable, scenario or piece that works best for us at this time. But it's just too early, right? But let me tell you something now. Those guys are way smarter than all of us.
Yeah.
And they have plans in place. So believe me, if there's anything that I can tell you right now is that I trust what they do. They're very smart. All those analytic guys and the team baseball operations guys they have up there, they're top notch. And speaking of top notch stuff, another revenge situation, right? What about our former assistant GM Pete Petula, who came into town and how about him winning a series against us? That's noteworthy as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he was also excited about that.
He actually got his World Series ring. I believe either today or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But before we move on, I actually want to add something.
Right.
So this, was pitch clock in place. I know some of the younger guys who were in the minors are more used to it because that's what they had to go through. But do you think the pitchers feel, and injuries happen throughout the season? Like it's like inevitable, like it's gonna happen. But you think like with the pitch clock, you think the pitchers feel rushed, where they feel like they're not doing their mechanics, and maybe this is leading to more injuries, or like what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, Zoe, I don't know about you, man, but I don't think we have enough data yet to decipher whether or not injuries are caused by this, speed up of the pitch clock. But I'm sure, like other hitters, the veteran guys that have been in the league longer, they're used to their rituals, they're used to their traditions, right? So I'm sure certain pitchers are not happy with the pitch clock, and I'm sure some hitters are not happy with the pitch clock either because they want to be able to do their thing. Rub their dirt on their hands, their bat, do their Hail Marys, right? Do their wristbands or whatever they need to do to get themselves mentally ready for that at bat. I mean, I told this to Blummer a couple weeks ago. As a former player that is just really removed from the game, I like it, right? I'm watching it as a person that is looking at it from a fan perspective, former player perspective, but also just a scenario where I like the fact that it's moving, right? I like the fact that we get to the game, it's 7:00, and all of a sudden we blink, it's the 8th inning, it's 9:00. It's like, whoa, this is pretty sweet. I can go home early and maybe watch an episode of Seinfeld. I just dated myself. I just want you to know that. Seinfeld, really.
Seinfeld is the best. One of the
okay,
best
cool. Thank you, Zoe.
I'm a Seinfeld fan. I'm very off the topic of baseball. Seinfeld is definitely one of the best programs out there.
Thank you, TBS, and thank you, Zoe, for that. But I just think that it's too early to tell whether or not it's adding to injuries, but definitely they will adapt, man. It's gonna be a scenario just like how you mentioned, right? The minor leaguers have gone through it. I remember when I was in the minor leagues, our big thing that they were testing out on us was 1 foot out the box, right? We had to have 1 foot out the box to look at the coach's signs or whatever. And now, that turned into the, obviously in the big leagues too, and then obviously in the pitch clock. So all this stuff, people will adapt. It's going to be a small blip, I think, in the radar. But here's the big deal, in my opinion, because I'm a big World Baseball Classic guy. I love it. It is definitely, I grew up with the vibe of the Caribbean World Series. So that is kind of a a big league version, explosion, global thing, a version of the Caribbean World Series. And I say all that because I really believe that those games were super exciting and they had no pitch clock. It was the game that we grew up watching, right? It was the game that was pure tradition, right? But I say this because I think in the postseason, they need to implement something similar to that.
I think
Because to have an at-bat or to have something be taken away or strike be taken away, somebody getting the strikeout because of a little bit of a timing scenario would be so detrimental and so like not pure the game when there's like a game on the line of maybe the time runs on second base and there's 2 outs and all of a sudden because of this clock you get called third strike. I think they need to check that somehow. I don't know what a good compromise would be. I don't know if it's maybe starting from the 6th inning on, they don't no more pitch clock, or just hey, postseason, no clock, let's rock and roll. That's just my take on that.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what too is like the ghost runner as well. I'm still not a fan of it. I think they just implemented that back this coming year because I'm not too.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm not 100% sure if they took it away last year, but like you're saying too with the WBC, a lot of people were speculating with the pitchers, like for instance Jose Urquidy being hurt. That was a WBC. He participated in the WBC. Luis Garcia, he pitched one of the good games in the WBC too.
He sure did.
Him himself, Altuve, of course, we know the situation. The Astros know the situation what he went through. So a lot of speculation going from pitch clock to WBC. Did the coaches use them too much? And because if you look at the stats too, on Javier's fastball, we talked about it about 2 episodes ago. His average now is 93, and it used to be back then. I believe it was like 3 plus 3. It was like 95, 96. Yeah, so they said that could have been a factor. I'm like, it's just too much speculation going on with the injuries. You just don't know what happens.
I just think, all those things, all those injuries, they could have happened in spring training. It's just, it is what it is. I think, unfortunately, I forgot the pitcher's name for the USA. They hit Altuve, but I don't know what the dynamics were on there due to pitch count and him trying to, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The manager of the USA team, I forgot his name.
Mark
DeRosa.
Thank you, DeRosa, which I love. He's awesome. I love him on baseball. MLB Network, deal. He's awesome at it. But anyways, I just thought that was again. I'm not second guessing him at all. I don't know what the little details might have been, but if you see a big league pitcher who's a little bit erratic, you almost got to, for the sake of everybody's safety, take him out because he didn't show any control at all. It was almost like it was mental at that point. And then I'm sure he's a good guy, and the fact that he beamed, Altuve probably didn't sit well with his psyche either. So because nobody's trying to get hurt out there. Everybody's trying to compete, trying to do their thing. They know it's a beautiful thing for the game. No one's trying to brawl anybody other than maybe one of WBC's back in the day with Team Mexico and Canada. That was a legit brawl. But I mean, I understood why, I think it was Luis Cruz, no relation, but why he wanted to fight. But it was funny. But anyways, I just think that that scenario on the injury side, spring training is spring training. Guys are going to get hurt. But luckily in today's game, people are coming to spring training ready. And so these guys were even more ready because they knew they were going to compete earlier. And it's a prideful thing for everybody's country. So I'm a fan of the WBC. I think it's good for the game. It's just unfortunate that injuries happen, and sometimes people that aren't for the WBC will use that as an excuse, like to say we shouldn't be playing it.
Definitely. And speaking of injuries, the Mariners, they lost one of their starting pitchers, former Cy Young, Robbie Ray's out for the season, like we had mentioned about 2-3 episodes ago. But let's preview that matchup. And they're going to the Electric Factory over there in Seattle. And actually, the Mariners are going to be debuting their City Connect jerseys that Friday game.
Sweet.
So that should be interesting to see how they look out there with the black pants and the little throwback jersey that they have that represents their culture from them days in that organization. But the M's are 13-16. They are 4th place in the AL West. This is the first time, like I had mentioned, that the Astros are going to play the Seattle Mariners this season. Last trip, they went out there, like Lance McCullers had said, unplugged Electric Factory with that wild 18-inning game to clinch the ALDS. So far, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. So Let's start with Friday's matchup. Friday, 9-10, Christian Javier will be on the mound for the Astros 2-1 with a 3.48 ERA, and he will be going against Luis Castillo, which he is pitching, dominating this right now in this season. 2-0, 182 ERA. This is going to be a pitcher's duel, I say, in the beginning.
A quick
Um,
game, huh?
I mean,
It's gonna be
just
quick.
like like last game with Framber and Logan Webb, it was under 3 hours. I can't remember; it was two something. But Javier, last outing versus Philly wasn't the best for him. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Positive note for him though, he is 3-1 versus the Mariners in his career. Has a 2.08 ERA, 23 strikeouts and 7 appearances. Of course, that last outing he played was in Game 1 of the ALDS, and that was in a relief role because it was either Framber or JV that was starting that game for the Astros. 1 1/3, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts. Gave up that home run to Eugenio Suarez. Guys, what are we looking for Christian Javier coming from? That not the Christian Javier that the Astros know in that Phillies game. What are y'all looking to stand out from him coming into Seattle in the first game?
Well, I think, in my opinion, it's going to be like how you mentioned before. I mean, he's played well against the Mariners. I mean, it's going to be it has to be a scenario of confidence rolling up to that stadium and knowing, hey, it is their home ballpark. But you know what, I've pitched well against these guys, and I've got one bad outing or a mediocre outing doesn't mean anything, right? He's got a fresh opportunity to set the tone nicely in Game 1 and get our boys, rocking and rolling. So hopefully we can play some good defense behind them and get some hits, some clutch hits, and like how we mentioned before, get some hits out of some guys that have had some slow starts like Abreu and Bregman, and then Jordan, doing his thing because he knows that's his house anyways. It's something where if we can get all those things going and Christian Javier setting the tone that Game 1, it sets us up real nice for the rest of the series. So I expect Javier to go in there and be like, hey, this is me. Let's do this. Bring it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I should see. What I expect for him is to be taking charge with that fastball again. Like that's his main pitch. That's the pitch he relies on whenever he's down in the count, when he wants to get ahead. And if we see coming in a fastball, we should have they should have a pretty good outing from Javier.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be easy though for this Astros offense. No. Like I said, them two games against the San Francisco Giants, they only combined for 8 hits, and they're gonna go against one of the best American League pitchers right now in MLB, and that's Luis Castillo. His last outing at Toronto, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Pitching at T-Mobile Park this season, them are the only 2 wins he has so far. And the ERA, 1.14. Opponent batting average is 1.45. Oof. So this guy's going to bring it at his own ballpark, especially with them new unis, them new City Connects coming out. But his last outing at Houston, I mean, he looked phenomenal against the Astros. Of course, Yordan Alvarez had took him deep to give the Astros the lead, but 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Like I mentioned, the home runs came from Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. So, I mean, this offense is going to have to get something going. I remember Bregman saying on the post game that the Astros, and they're just going to have to get a meeting going, talk it out, try to get the slumps out for the guys. Hopefully that they come in prepared to play against a pretty good Seattle team, which everybody had thought that they're going to win the AOS. I think they'll probably be second, in my opinion, not being unbiased. But, I mean, it's going to be a great series. And Saturday and Sunday, the Astros have yet to announce their starting pitchers. Of course, Jose Urquidy had the injury, and who was after Urquidy? It was Luis Garcia as well. So they're not 100% sure who's going to be on the mound for them. But for the Seattle side, we haven't gotten any update on that. We'll keep you updated on Twitter if you follow us at Full Steam Ahead. But I predict, this is my prediction. I was looking at the starting rotation because, Angel, you had mentioned before we had started recording that the whole rotation is all messed up because of this Robbie Ray injury. The rotation used to be Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, Robbie Ray, George Kirby, and then their number 5 starter, which I'm not 100% sure. But after the injury, I mean, it's been all over the mess. But yeah. I believe it's going to be Marco Gonzalez. He has a 2-0. He's 2-0 with a 4.74 ERA. His last outing at Toronto, 3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He has given up the long ball in his last 2 appearances as well against the Astros in his last 3. So there could be a possibility that these balls will be flying out of T-Mobile Park for the Astros lineup.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not sure who's going to be on the opposite side, but Angel, give me your intake what this offense is going to look against Marco, because I mean, the Astros have faced Marco Gonzalez a good while. I don't even know how long he's been with the Mariners.
Well, he said he's giving up the long ball, and you know who likes the long ball? Guys like Jordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu,
Yes.
Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman. You know, I think
Well,
that.
Jose Abreu has yet to hit a home run.
But you know, again, he's due.
But he likes them too.
Yeah,
he likes them too, Zoe.
He just dreams at the moment so far.
No, yeah, I think that plays well to the Astros' advantage because they're a team that relies on that to bring them. No, well, I feel like they're a balanced team where they can hit for contact, but when it's there, like they're gonna hit the long ball for sure. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that one. I think the Astros are gonna hopefully do well, and again, he just plays to their advantage.
Yeah, you know,
Hey.
Jordan Alvarez.
And by the way, guys, sorry to interrupt, but the Astros are a really, really good hitting team late in the games. As you saw with the Giants, right in the seventh inning, they might not have hit every ball hard, but they were clutching up, right, and bloop here, bloop there, whatever, solid hit here, just bringing runs in. But I got an interesting stat here that they are through seventh through ninth inning, they have scored 60 runs.
Oh wow!
All right,
Yep,
so I mean,
Astros, that's Astros baseball,
right? I mean, it's almost like it's great. I wish we could spread them out a little bit throughout the game, but like
exactly
that just goes to I know that, but that just goes to show you that they're never out, right? Mm-hmm. So don't count them out. They might. It's a scenario where they might just need 2 at bats to kind of get locked in and see what's going on, get their feel in the you know, like how we talked about before. It's a scenario where it's still early. They're still kind of getting their kinks out a little bit. You know, some guys aren't feeling hot. They're not feeling too comfortable. But late in the game, all of a sudden, hey, they make an adjustment, get jammed, let the ball get a little bit deeper, fight some pitches off, and they get things going. So I think that if we can spread it out throughout the game a little bit more, we're going to be great, but don't count them out ever. So that's my take on that, man.
Yeah, I think Enrique is going to like this. Jordan Alvarez, like you were saying, Angel, 21 plate appearances against Marco Gonzalez, 7 for 16 with a .438 batting average, a double, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 3 walks. So yeah, he picked a good offensive MVP early in the show.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Hey, baby, let me tell you something now. Even if it was the Mariners or not, he's an easy pick, man.
Oh yeah,
he can
definitely.
hit. He can
I
hit.
mean, we both kind of pick and choose which one on that when we do our offensive and pitching MVPs. But on the Mariners side, they do have a hot hitter themselves, and it is Jarred Kelenic. Jarred Kelenic was one of the Mariners' top best prospects last year, and I mean, everybody was high on this guy coming in and making his major league debut last year. He wasn't starting the best in his first year as a Major League Baseball player, wasn't the best, but the second year, he looks like the top prospect that he was. You know, people were thriving on him. Third in AL with a 988 OPS, top 10 in many categories like the batting average and home runs in the American League. So far, he has a 309 batting average, 371 on base percentage, 617 slugging percentage, 8 doubles, 7 home runs, 15 RBIs, 10 walks. That almost sounds like an April Player of the Month right there. I'm reading off of.
Right.
But I mean, the pitchers that we got, like I said, Christian Javier is going to be one of them. I'm pretty sure maybe we'll see Brandon Bielak in one of those starts. Angel, how are they going to cool this guy down? I mean, just reading off those stats right there, I mean, that was pretty phenomenal to see.
It's going to be tough, but I feel like if they can locate that outside pitch and make him like take the ball the other way instead of, because he had a stretch where he had like 3 or 4 home runs in a row, and they were either center field to pull side. So I feel like if we can make him hit the ball the other way, limits the damage, gets a few outs, and that'll be very helpful for his ball club.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be key for the bullpen and the starters to keep that guy hot. I mean, keep him cold, because Julio Rodriguez hasn't even been hitting that well for the Mariners, which is shockingly. Eugenio Suarez has been striking out a lot for them. Teoscar Hernandez, one of their big acquisitions from the trade that they had made with the Toronto Blue Jays, he hasn't been promising for them as well. So Jarred Kelenic's just doing, a good job over there for them.
Hey, fellas, real quick, I'm going to have to roll out, and I apologize. I got to tend to my Cruz baseball kids here at Rice. It's Cruz baseball day at Rice University, so I see them lining up down the first base line. I got to at least be an adult and let them in real quick and be a good coach and role model. So I got to head out. But I will tell you this. We know this, and we're experiencing it with our players too with the hitting right now. Those guys that you just listed, at the end of the season, I expect Julio Rodriguez to have his numbers, right?
Yeah.
Suarez to have his numbers. I don't know if Suarez is going to hit for a high average, but he's going to hit some bombs, right? If he gets an opportunity, he's going to hit his bombs. And so, man, it's going to be a good, exciting series. And I will say this last thing, and I'll leave on this note because I am biased. I'm an Astro fan, okay? The Mariners will be second, okay? And the Rangers will plummet down a little bit lower. They're not as good as they think they are. But and we're going to be all right. I trust the and Dusty, okay? Let's go with that.
Well, thank you so much for joining
so
us,
much.
Jose Enrique. It was really great hearing from you and your aspect of a baseball player and from the Astros management standpoint. But hopefully we get you on for more episodes. But thank you for your time.
You're welcome
and joining
anytime.
us on Full Steam Ahead.
I appreciate it, fellas. Hey, a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it again. It'd be great, man, because I want to have some nice MVP shout outs and all that deal. So, and I won't be in a random place, moving place to place, But I appreciate you guys. Y'all be safe, okay?
Yeah, you too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Later.
Well, speaking of MVPs, this is what he just missed out. So it is time for.
He named one.
He did. He had Jordan Alvarez, but
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see who next time he comes on for pitching and in his hot take. But moving on, again, we said it before. Jose Abreu is a slow starter. He's due for a home run. We're all the Astros fans are hoping for it. My offensive MVP is Jose Abreu. It's a new month. Turn the chapter. Change the script. I think Jose Abreu can get it going during this month and the months to come. Offensive MVP again. It was kind of. I wanted to pick a bullpen guy, but you had a bullpen guy that will be announced soon,
Yes.
and we don't have that many starters, so I'm limited to Christian Javier. But hey, that's a good pick though, because I feel he wants to bounce back. It wasn't the outing he was looking for against the Phillies, especially against such a good team with them, and hopefully he brings the turns off the electric factory, like you said, on the Mariners and limits those bats. And my hot take is Astros out hit the Mariners. Again, I know the offense has been struggling, and I know the Mariners have some good guys that are hot right now. But we're gonna believe it. We're gonna do it. Astros out hit the Mariners this series.
Yeah, your hot takes are good. I think Jose Abreu needs to get going, like Jose Enrique said. I think him, Tucker, Bregman especially. I think he could be the one to get going after that home run he hit in Minute Maid Park, and that was his first home run at Minute Maid this season, which is shocking because that's a whole month of baseball, and half your games are at Minute Maid. But like you said, here we go. Offensive MVP. He did name his offensive MVP. It was Jordan Alvarez. Yeah, which is, when is Jordan Alvarez not a good offensive MVP? But mine, it's going to be the King Kyle Tucker. I think reading off them last 7 games, that's not Kyle Tucker baseball from him. Everybody knows that this guy's a 5-tool player. He is on track to try to do 30 for 30 this season. The last Astro to do that was Jeff Bagwell in the late 90s. I think it was either 97 or 98. But he's the only Astro, and Kyle Tucker could, join him soon. But I'll take Kyle Tucker as my offensive MVP. Pitching MVP. You said Christian Javier. Like you said, I was going to go with the bullpen. I'm going Brian Abreu. I think this series is going to be crucial. It's going to be one of those postseason environments, I think. We saw them in the ALDS, and their first game in the postseason, over 2 decades. They brought the electricity. I'm not gonna lie. The fan base showed out for the Mariners, and like I said, I think this is gonna be a postseason type atmosphere. It should be because it's on a weekend. And then plus Friday, you're debuting your new City Connect jerseys on the field. Now, this game has to be a postseason environment. But I've got Brian Abreu. Anytime the Astros need a big stop in one of the games after their starter comes out, or they need multiple innings from somebody, that's your guy right there because he lets it hang out. You never forget that that game that he pitched in Toronto with bases loaded and no outs, and he got out of that jam like nothing. Big one. So I think he'll be a crucial part to this series. And then my hot take, I got Kyle Tucker as my offensive MVP. I'm gonna go with Bregman as my hot take. He's gonna hit over 300 this series. Like I said in the broadcast that he had said in the post game that the Astros are going to be talking on Friday before they go out and hit batting practice and things like that, just to remind themselves who they're who they are, and just to relax mentally and physically, because I feel like everybody's tense when they get into the batter's box, especially when you have your two hitter that's not hitting where he wants to hit. Same thing as Brian Abreu. I mean, Jerry Pena and Jordan Alvarez is hitting under 275, 270 at least. So the offense hasn't been there lately, but I could see Alex Bregman hitting over 300 this series because, I mean, he's seen the Mariners quite a while since 2016.
Yeah, and Dubon I think is the only one in the starting nine that's over 300. And again, he had a
Mhm.
20-game hit streak, and he's been hot off the start. But I like your pick; it's pretty good, and hopefully, all our hot takes and picks are good. And it's gonna be a crucial series because the Astros fell to third after this series loss against the Giants in the division, and like you said, the Mariners are in four, so they're 3 games behind us. It's a 3-game series, so they're looking to bump up the standings a little bit. So they're gonna come playing hard. But moving on, it's time for around the league, and I don't know if you saw, but it was two great games in Mexico City. The first game was a mini home run derby. It was like 11 to like 14. I forgot the final score, but balls were launching out, especially with that high altitude out there.
Yeah.
So I think MLB adjusted for that second game. They probably take them different baseballs or something because it was like a much normal game on that one. But it looked good, like and and then now MLB announced that the Astros and Rockies will play a regular series in Mexico next season. So start taking out your passports, start planning because it'll be a
Start planning.
pretty fun game to watch out there, especially Mexico City. It's such a beautiful, diverse city. It should be on everybody's bucket list. It's pretty great. They have a lot of history down there. You know, are you planning to make a trip or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I got to see what we got going. Me and my plus one, my fiance. We got a wedding this coming month. So,
Congratulations, congratulations.
of course, if anybody wanted to know on the podcast and we're listening, yeah. But I'm maybe. I mean, I like to experience Mexico City. I've never been. The only part of Mexico I've been was Cancun, and of course, I want to explore more.
For sure. And we just finished playing the Phillies not too long ago, and even though we lost the series, the Phillies won it without their key piece. Bryce Harper returns to the city of brotherly love. The Phillies announced that Harper has been reinstated from the IL Tuesday, so that's good news for Phillies fans out there. It's a big loss, and he's coming off Tommy John surgery, which was a pretty quick recovery if you tell me about it.
Quick.
But and the good thing is the National League has a DH, so now I mean they're just focused on hitting. So I feel like if he can hit, he should be pretty good. Like I feel like it's a different torque than throwing a baseball. So as long as he lays off of that, he should be good. First game back, obviously the rough feathers because he did not want to do a minor league rehab assignment. He went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. I mean, I think that's pretty much expected coming to your first at bat. Even if you're Bryce Harper good, have to get used to major league pitching. Second game back, it's like he didn't miss a beat. 2 for 2, 2 walks. Like that's Bryce Harper right there.
Yeah.
And adding on to the Yankees' losses, and again, that's another team plagued with injuries. Again, their starting rotation is not what it was or what they expected to be in the beginning of the season, and now their captain, Aaron Judge, is placed on the IL on Monday. That happened after a hard slide at third base against the Rangers Friday night, and I think it took him a while to put him on the IL. I mean, maybe
Hmm.
it was a weekend trying to get him, uh, get like a second opinion or something. Judge was diagnosed with a right hip strain. That's 13 Yankee players on the IL, the most in baseball this year. Giancarlo, Aaron Judge, Josh Donaldson are notable hitters in the IL. And the Yankees paid a first play raise 7 times in May. So I think these injuries
Yeah.
are coming at a rough patch for them. Again, they fell off, I think, Major League's power rankings, my power rankings, and Ben Verlander's power rankings. Like, they're not there anymore after they were projected to be a pretty good team this year, and they're actually in last place
In the division.
in the division, which is another surprising after the Red Sox play. But the rest has been pretty hot lately, though.
I mean, yeah. I mean, starting pitching, they only got Garrett Cole.
And Nestor
That's it.
Cortez,
Nestor Cortez hasn't been the same though. In his last two outings, he's been getting roughed up lately. But the hitters, I mean, the lineup, the offense. John Carlos stands a big bat. You got Aaron Judge. That the Yankees are hoping it's only 10 days. John Carlo was, I believe, was 4 to 6 weeks because it was a hamstring injury. So Now, then things take a while to get back in place. And then, I mean, the only offense they're going to have is, I think, Anthony Rizzo. I'm not too sure. Harrison Bader just came back for the Yankees, and
Hopes are pretty good too.
Anthony Volpe is going to be,
Yeah.
on the lineup as well. So they're going to have to find a way. Astros fans thought the Astros had it bad. I mean, look at the Yankees, 13. My gosh, and then you got to play the Tampa Bay Rays 7 times. That's kind of hard if you're a Yankees fan out there. But that is all the time we got. And yes, it was a long show. We did miss the last one with the San Francisco Giants preview
Yeah,
and the
sorry about
recap
that.
of the Phillies. Yes, that's on my end. I had some plans. I mean, we all had things to do on the weekend. But we're back, like I said. Thanks to Jose Enrique Cruz that had
Back
joined
and
us.
better.
Yeah. Thank you for him for coming on as a guest on our show today. Continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, as well as follow on TikTok. Follow us and subscribe to our podcast platforms that we got: Apple, Spotify, Google, things like that. Angel, you got any last words before we cut off?
No, thank you for hearing us out, and stay tuned. We have a bunch of great stuff. Would love to have Jose Enrique Cruz back. Hopefully, he comes back, and those will be great episodes for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, shout out to him for coming on and being a guest on our show. But until then, we will talk to y'all later at the conclusion of the Seattle Mariners series. Talk to y'all later.
Deuces.